Welcome you all for this November month quality series is organized by Consultant Consortium of Chennai, and I am welcoming you all for these sessions. And the topic is today we are going for the education services, and mainly in education services we are focusing on the coaching centers and compliance to the regulation and safety standards. So very recently, Government of India has came up with the guidelines on the coaching centers and especially on the misleading advertisements. So this is really a remarkable step on the part of the government of India in developing guidelines or a legal frame so that uh, this coaching center, widely we know that it is an unorganized sector and, and especially a lot of unwanted things are going across, misleading the students, parents, and the community, and with the main motto of making money. But of course, coaching centers are essential one for the knowledge development, for the development of the students. So definitely, Government of India has put up a right step in establishing a legal frame under which they are to be complied. And today's session, we are going to look across these. What are the regulation? What are the safety standards? What are the challenges ahead of these various coaching centers in following these rules and regulations? Because this is the first time in India we are having such a rule, and definitely it is going to be a big challenge because so far there is no restriction for them. Now it is going to be a big issue for them. I am Giridharan. I am the principal consultant of Best Resources. I am the GC member and the founder member also, and I am currently the treasurer of the Consultant Consortium of Chennai. I am graduated in BBA, MCOM, MBA, and I have 36 years of industrial experience across various sectors like printing industry, non-banking financial companies, manufacturing, consulting, and I am a trainer also recognized by Junior Chamber International, JC Academy, USA. Uh, till starting from 1992 onwards, I am doing a lot of training programs, and currently I am doing a lot of training programs for the certification bodies also. And on the background, I have supported a lot of programs for the soft skills on the for the student development, entrepreneur development, and for the BITS Bilani needs that the government of India's government of Tamil Nadu Women Entrepreneur Development Program, for which I have contributed a lot as a trainer. So I have a wide experience in traveling across the various countries, many countries, in providing consulting services and across India also. So thanks, Rama Madam, for choosing me to be the host of this session. And Aarti, can you share the profile of Mr. Jaybal sir? Yeah. Welcome, Mr. Jaybal sir. Jaybal
Thank
sir
you.
is an academician and educational administrator. He is also the former assistant director of Department of Matriculation Schools and the CEO. And he is having a extensive experience related to the private matriculation schools across the Tamil Nadu. And he is being the administrator. He is having a close interaction with the government of India as well as the matriculation schools as well as the parents also. He is basically specialized in English teaching and a pre-service teacher trainer through DIET, that is District Institute of Education and Training. In service teacher trainer for centrally approved projects such as DPEP and SSA, hold key administrative positions like Assistant Director, Department of Matriculation School, Chief Educational Officer of Dharmaburi District, and experience in education administration with a focus on school management and leadership. So, with a vast experience and challenges he has faced, and I think Mr. Jaipal sir would be one of the right person to take across the first session. And I welcome you, sir, for this session. And you are going to focus on the topic on need for such coaching centers, either inside or outside the academic settings. Nowadays, we can see that institution itself, they are having a tie-up with the various coaching center in conducting the various entrance education programs and all the things. So I'm welcoming you, sir, on behalf of the CCC to share your experience and thoughts. Welcome, sir. Sir, you can start. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gugaran. Hello to everyone. This is Jayapal, as has been introduced by Mr. Gugaran. I am going to take up the issue on need for coaching centers inside or outside the academic system. Yes. Yes, I've been throughout my career, spanning to about 35 years, I've been with schools, secondary schools. And these secondary schools are the feeders for the coaching centers. So depending upon their necessity, basic need, these coaching centers mostly are functioning, they are thriving rather. So it is very thoughtful of the consultants consortium of Chennai to include this topic in their November month quality series organized under healthcare events. To start with, in the school system, we mostly use fusion or tutorials, these are the words, mainly in currency, to denote coaching, some sort of coaching. Coaching, as far as I know still now, is not being used for inside school improvement arrangement. So from my personal experience, I want to mention about this coaching or tutorial system. I was inducted to the teaching system by the Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission in the year 1970. And I got a posting in the Model High School of Teachers College, Saidapur, Chennai. And that institution, being a model school, got everything well equipped. And I started as a science teacher. Later on, when in the year 1978, there was this higher secondary system, I was inducted as a language English teacher for the higher secondary school classes. Because I have improved my qualification from BSc to MA English in the meantime through the evening college system. So I joined as a science teacher, and the school was fully equipped, though it is a government institution, it is fully equipped. We can demonstrate anything, everything within the syllabus, even outside the syllabus. That was the facility we had. And then I, being a new entrant, new teacher there, you have heard about the new brooms sweeping very well, we were about 6 science teachers, but I was the only one who used to take all the classes in the laboratory room. And there were 3 laboratories, one for biology, physics, and chemistry. So according to each lesson, I can shift the laboratory. My students, it's 2 blocks away from the main school building, and so my students used to walk the distance to the laboratory where I used to be, from the morning till the evening. So I used to demonstrate each bit of it. If it is chemistry, starting from availability, prevalence, methods of preparation, properties, testing, everything will be demonstrated. And during one of the sessions, I asked my students, how many of you are going for tuition? A few students put up their hand. And then I asked each of them what subjects you are being tutored. And they said so many things. Somehow or other, they did not mention science. I was rather doubtful. And then I said, நீங்க எல்லாமே வந்து சயின்ஸ் டீச்சர்கிட்ட பேசுறதுனால என்கிட்ட பேசுறதுனால you are not telling me science. They said they affirmed that no, sir, we are not going for science tuition. That much was to my credit. That means they did not want any more doubt clarification, anything like that, because everything was demonstrated, everything was explained to them. And then I have also positively advised them, you, for the science subject, we never go for any tuition tutorial, extra question. You can always approach me at the staff room in the school, or I am a bachelor, I am residing in a particular place, a room. You can approach me also, because all the students are local students, they can. But nobody came to my residence, but there was a few questions in the laboratory. So my contention is, if a teacher does well, and the teacher and the students are happy with the teacher and happy with the subject, and there won't be any need for tutorial, tuition, in other words, coaching. And there are mostly students, especially in the subject of math, with the either with the view of coaching 100% or with the view of with the view of getting 100% or with the view of getting at least a pass mark 35. Both the type of students go for math tuition. And so math will be the subject which will attract most students for tutorials, especially. And that is how it went. And then if you span the same thing from my entry as a teacher there in the school to the later level, when I was an English teacher, I used to convert my particular class, the special English class. There is an optional subject called special English in the +2 system. At least it was there in my days. And somehow English is a difficult subject for a language for learning for the schools and for the students in the government school. But somehow we were able to get 8 students admitted in the special coaching classes, the special English classes. And then because only 8, and unfortunately I had a room for myself, being the NCC officer of the school. I had an office come storeroom specially for me, not the common staff room for me, it's a special room for me. So I used to put 2 benches that can accommodate 4 students each, and then my 8 students I have asked them to come to my room. I will not be coming to your class, so they will come to my room, sit in the benches, and then I know that their ability, talents in the language. And I have personally recommended them to take up this course on my guarantee that, as nowadays all the coaching centers guaranteeing their advertisements, and there is a new regulations about the false claims in the advertisements. There is one of the new regulations, 2 regulations issued by the government of India, about which Mr. Giridharan just now referred. It's a good item. Anyway, here I have give a warranty that I will see that all the 8 of you will pass in the special English paper. And so that was a promise, and then I worked for it, and then the working is not by teaching special English lessons or whatever, it is by coaching specially. So that was a type of tutorial, because it is in a close, a small room, compact room, where all the 8 students will be sitting in front of me, just 1 or 2 feet distance. And then I have asked them to buy 11th book as well as the 12th standard book and carry it every day to the school. And madam, whoever is keeping track of the time, please remind me, because I'm an old man, I used to go on and on about the past incident. So that was about special English class in that school for that particular 2 years period was a coaching, it is not at all a teaching at all. And then with a small element of cheating also. What is the cheating? I used to finish off the 11th standard lessons within 3 months, and then I will take up 12th standard lesson from the second term of the 11th standard itself. And what about the examinations? Most of the examinations in the 11th standard are school managed. That means the teacher, concerned teacher will set the question paper and then collect the answer paper, value them and give the marks for each term. In the midterm also, there will be an evaluating system and there will be marks. And anyway, the second term and third term, because we are dealing with the 12th standard book, my students will be just sitting there with the school given question paper of 11th standard. And then they know already what is the question paper for the second term, third term. That is, I have given them the question. They have that in mind. Always in the special English question paper is very short, not running to pages. And so they will write the answers for the questions given to them already. And it's also a sort of illegal coaching. So for the school system. And so the coaching was going on, the tutorial was going on. And then the final result was at the end of the second year, all my 8 students passed in the special English class. Every one of them. Marks may not be very attractive. It will be slightly above the pass level, about 40%, 50%. And the pity of it is, one of my 8 students failed in the general English paper, which every 12th standard student has to take. And fortunately, I was not the tutor or teacher teaching them the general English paper. So from that, in the year 70, it was confident teaching, and in the year 70, it is in the year 80, it was a lot of cheating, coaching, or whatever, to achieve my end, to garner the 100% success which I have promised. So the coaching centers of today, they are promising a lot, especially during the school academic year and after the board exam results are published, there will be a lot of full-page advertisements about the achievements of the coaching centers. And all of them will always promise that success assured. And if that promise is wrong, then it should not be there. The such wording should not be there is the present regulations given, the Government of India regulations. So that is how our coaching system works. And then coming to our topic, do you need coaching system or coaching centers functioning from inside the academic institutions or from outside? Either way, coaching centers cannot be done away with. That is for sure. Because the whole educational atmosphere or the system of selecting for higher education, especially the most coveted courses, medicine, engineering, management, and all that, and for the most coveted jobs in India, government jobs and other jobs. So for all these things, there is a sort of competitive exam or qualifying exam, and which has to be crossed first. And then only you can think of, or you can have the benefit of sitting in a particular class of your liking, or go and take up the job, the big and the shining, the desirable job you always want. Maybe of the first attempt, or the second attempt, or the third, whatever attempt, the limited attempt. So here, the coaching centers definitely play a role. And the thing is, they play a role, they should play a straightforward game. Their aim should be to help the students to bring up their potential to a particular level, after which they can achieve their ends. That should be the criterion. Otherwise, we cannot do away with these coaching centers. If they are necessary, they are needed. And because you have to somehow overwhelm the competition for higher education opportunities and well-to-do jobs are very, very, very scarce. I do not have much statistics because the time given to me was very short. I have 2022 statistics. And the situation is, in the year 2022, there were 1,022 Indian civil service vacancies for which the examinations were conducted. And there were 11 lakh students competing for this exam. And they went through their preliminary, mains, and then Viva, and all that. And then the same year, for the engineering jobs, or the engineering studies, there were 140 lakh vacant seats available all over all over India, in the so-called elite colleges and institutions. And 59,917 students were competing for that. And for the medical system, NEET exam, there were 1 lakh seats available out of the country, and 23 lakh students were competing. So these students have to come up to a particular level so that they cross the margin into the admission arena, then only it is possible. Here, the role of, because of this intense competition, the role of coaching centers are very, very important. And another thing that I notice when I think of coaching centers, we call Kota as the Kota in Rajasthan is the capital of coaching centers. Rajasthan is a backward state. They even indicate those 5 states which are very backward as Bimari state. Rajasthan is one of them. Similarly, in Tamil Nadu, one of the backward districts is Dharmapuri, from which I retired as a chief education officer. That district is backward, but they have a lot of coaching centers. And a few years back, before I was there, I was there in taking up some project work here in the city at the headquarters. At that time, there used to be coaching centers. The Dharmapuri coaching centers will always have the most success rate. They coach for the teachers recruiting board examination. And when the results come out, maybe every year there will be about 1,000 or 2,000, or maybe a few less than the 1,000 vacancies for the secondary grade teacher. But the list will have a majority of Dharmapuri district students. And so it happened 1 year, 2nd year, 3rd year, and then there were newspapers, media, that Dharmapuri district always takes up the lead when it comes to the selection list of secondary grade teachers. And then there was a lot of hue and cry raised about that, and then the government picked it up. The department, education department, they formed a high-level committee. This committee went and studied and found nothing wrong. Every institute was doing well, and the examinations were conducted fine, and they also went around the other districts and compared the functioning of the coaching institutes, and then finally they said nothing has been nothing malpractice has been noticed. The only thing is they are doing fine job. So these coaching centers, they do good work. And why I am bringing in Dharmapuri here, somehow backward areas, they flourish in coaching centers. I think these areas, they don't have industrial facilities, they don't have commercial facilities, and then they don't have much of agricultural facilities. So what happens when they are pressed down from all 3 sides, they try to find out new ways of surviving and then becoming rich. And that is the reason they started to farming these coaching centers. Maybe Dharmapuri followed that model. These things somehow happened, and then there are a lot of coaching centers going all over the country. And recently, I read somewhere around 68,000 coaching centers are available. Maybe it cannot be a correct figure. It might have been exceeded. Or the accounting itself, the statistic itself is somewhat not based on sound methods of collecting data. So 68,000 for a country. is really a great number. So the number says that most people, well-to-do people who are a little bit interested in education and the youngsters, they prefer to do business, I should call it a business, with coaching. Yes, to begin with, years before, coaching centers were, most of them were inaugurated, opened, or initiated with a philanthropic idea. Even now, there are a few coaching centers, IAS coaching centers in Chennai. There, every student is coached free. Nothing is collected for them. And maybe they will have their own entrances to get the students selected. That is another thing. So that is how these coaching centers came to be, first to begin with, and then slowly, because it is an influential or an important aspect of the society, to be in the IAS academy, to run an IAS academy, to own an IAS academy. But a lot of things happened, and the coaching centers number have bloomed up to anything, blossomed up to anything. So they are a need, a must for this thing. And so in the present time, Indian coaching culture is progressing very well. And the culture is based on two things. One, you have to become academically well improved. Excellence, you should get it. That is one of the idea for the culture to flourish. The other idea is my son, my daughter should successfully complete the competitive examination, either for a job or for entry into a very prospective, very demandful course of education. So that's how the culture has started. That's how it is thriving very well in India. And now, which is preferred, either inside school or outside school, coaching centers? Either way, inside the school also, as Mr. Giridharan pointed out, many elite schools, they have a tie-up with the good coaching system, coaching centers. And then under their guidance, they are running a preparatory or a slow level coaching in the school system. And then you cannot have a full-fledged coaching center inside the school, because before completing the prescribed courses, maybe 12th standard or 10th standard, whatever, the student has his own academic work, and she has his own sports and other art, culture interests in the school itself. If the student does not pay attention to his aspirations, like becoming a good artist, a sportsman, an athlete, and all that, there won't be much of a time left for the student after the 12th standard to become an excellent person in that particular field. So it should be allowed all the arts and culture extracurricular activities within the limits of 12th standard. So they don't have much time besides their studies, board exam preparation for the board examination, and all these extracurricular activities. They may not have much time, and they cannot even take so much stress that comes out of the coaching center preparation. So just they will have some sort of very diluted or slow-paced coaching system, especially meant for the students who are already in the academic stream, but they will have a feel how to prepare for the competitive examination for the coaching center process. So that much only they can do, and that sort of work, even the school management themselves are able to do some. They have some extra hour in the evening or on a particular holiday, weekly once or fortnightly once. They have such sort of coaching, not only for their own academic subjects for board examinations, but for also a site of what is general generally happening in an IAS coaching center. What an IAS aspirant should do, and all those things, preparatory and preliminary, they will have their students know in those things. Besides the lectures, seminars organized on these lines in the school. So there's this much only inside the school system, the management or the government run school, government or other agencies running the school can do. Mostly it has to be outside the school system that the coaching centers can do well and then produce the results, and then they can fulfill whatever their objective is. But present day, most of us are the general public think their objective, the coaching center's objective, the foremost objective is to make money. That's a complaint prevalent all over the country, and they cite the facilities given by these coaching centers, and then how much stress they create for the students, all these things, which resulted in so many tragic events in the history of coaching centers. And there is one incident which I remember. One coaching center was running in the basement of a building, and students were attending the classes. A particular group of 3 students, they were very much interested, and they used spend a lot of time there in the library of the institute and all that. And then these 3 happened to be in the library when there was a flooding and all that. And along with the flooding, there was this drainage flooding, and then these 3 were drowned in the institute itself, libraries. So where they wanted to go and excel in life, they lost their life. That was a tragic thing, long back. I read it in newspaper. So, and then followed by, there are a lot of incidents in Rajasthan where the trainees committed suicide. In 2015 and then 2023, such incidents happened, tragic incidents. All these things created shockwave all over the country, and they started questioning what is happening inside the coaching centers. And then media, they brought up their reports. They held up their suggestions. And as a result, the government has recently formulated these regulations and then issued a warning about the wrongful advertisements about these institutions. These advertisements, not only the coaching centers, other companies, they always advertise for their products, and while advertising, they always go a step further, exaggerating, including some lies and hiding some facts and all that. And this particular 8-page regulation about the misleading advertisements, it's a measure, very good measure from the government of India. But then all the regulations, restrictions, advisories from the government of India or from state governments, they're all very good intentional. But what we lack in India as a country is well acclaimed by the citizens and also other countries, that our implementation is very much lacking. And so these 2 regulations should be seen that implementation is carried out to the full extent. Then only the coaching centers will do justice. And the advertisements from them will have a truth factor behind them. No exaggeration, no lies, nothing. And about coaching centers, no denying that they are needed. And that's why government of Tamil Nadu and other few other state governments, they themselves are running coaching centers. Yes, in Tamil Nadu we have an Arnarana IAS coaching centers, very in area. And then, but what happens? They have a lot of facilities. Their faculty is well qualified, well chosen, and all that, and the facilities are there. There is a enviable residential facilities there, everything. But then to go into the coaching center itself, you have to face a selection examination. You have to fulfill a certain economic and social criteria, and then plus that you have to take up an examination. You will be found You will have to be found that you are fit to be in the coaching center. They give scholarship, they provide lodging, and that is for 1 or 2 years. And then if you are not able to fulfill your aspiration within 2 years, you have to come up and on your own. So this institute for coaching of IAS service examination is a model, and I would like that every state has such an institution, and some of the other institutions, because state institutions, they will be naming on their own leaders, and there are so many other factors. But I would suggest that each state has a model coaching center, a model coaching center, which will have all the facilities which everybody would like, and the government will stipulate. And even the government can think of providing subsidies or grants to such an institution, so that they will serve as a model to all other entrepreneurs who would like to run coaching centers. And besides that, those who are really interested in the welfare of the youth to come up and take up good questions and do good for the nation, to the society. And that sort of person, somehow or other, should find the role of running institution. And you can always, yes, when the coaching institute, they apply for it, government scrutinizes what happens, what is there, who is running and all that. And those board of directors for the school, or the chairperson, or who is behind it, they can run the biodata. What is he? Is he a Tata, or is he any other typical businessman? That would always give a fillip, to the running of coaching centers. So government can think of not only regulating the institution, the coaching centers themselves, but also see that the force behind it, the person or the group of persons behind it, they are really intent on doing service to the youth, to the country, ultimately. So then only we can have coaching centers doing good job to the institute, to themselves, to their trainees, and to the country. And that is my humble suggestion.
Thank you, sir.
I have exceeded my time.
That's not a problem, sir.
That's the thing.
You are sharing whatever you are sharing is really interesting and informative, because you are having such a 35 to 40 years of experience in the education domain, and you started as a career. And really, I was really surprised to see that even by 1970 itself, there is a need for tuition centers. So students are there, and very happy to note that on your subject, there is no need for teaching, any coaching. So, real my salute to you, sir. And during your talk, I'm very much impressed on the few points. That is, there is an increasing need among the students for the competitive exam, because it is growing like anything. So definitely, schools cannot afford those competitiveness, and really, coaching centers are supporting the students in improving their competence. And really impressive to know that the Dharmaburi coaching centers, even though they are coming from a remote centers, how good they are able to develop such a huge number of teachers, qualified teachers. And even on the investigation, they found that only they focus on the teaching no fraud activities. Really, it's an informative, sir. So ultimately, you have came up a few suggestions that the resources deficiency is the main problem in the private coaching centers, where government is now developing a role model coaching centers. Definitely, it will take time for the private coaching centers to level up towards to that level. Anyway, the role of the coaching centers are unavoidable, whether they can be inside or outside order maybe. Definitely, the coaching center plays an important role in career of the students. Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your wonderful experience. and be aligned with us. Thank you, sir. And be aligned with us, and we will have the next session.
Sure.
Yeah, please, sir. Aarti?
Aarti? Yeah.
Okay. So I am welcoming Mr. Vedavel, BA LLB, litigation lawyer, Wales Law Chambers for this program. And he's a young and a practicing lawyer.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Yes, sir. I'll start.
Just a moment, sir. I just
Yes,
introduce myself. So he is an advocate enrolled in 2019 with the Bar Council of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, practicing before the Madras High Court, City Civil Courts, NCLT Chennai and NGT Chennai. He specialized in corporate banking, IT telecommunications, media and environmental laws. Experience in drafting, appearances and arguments for the various courts and tribunals. Successfully represented many MNCs and individual clients for securing multiple favorable orders. He is known popular for powerful forces in the workforce with a positive attitude and tireless energy. And he also encourages others to work hard and succeed like him. Welcome you, sir. And I welcome you to share your experiences related to these various law recently brought up on these coaching centers. Please, sir.
Thank you for the kind introduction, sir. Thank you for the kind introduction, for giving me an opportunity to speak on such an important topic, sir. So, as someone who has been following the evolving landscape of the coaching sector for a late 90s kid, I have grown along with the coaching. The coaching sector has grown along with me. And right now, I currently see the intervention of the central government, the state governments, as well as the judiciary, as both timely and essential. Right now we have two major guidelines that are governing and regulating the coaching centers and increasing their accountability and the transparency that they have towards the general public and their patrons as well. The student industry of India is a very thriving industry, as we all know, and the implications of these guidelines and the way forward as to how these guidelines and recommendations from various stakeholders are implemented will ensure that there is a balanced and ethical educational ecosystem that is available in our country. So, as I said, as Jayapal sir before me has said, there are the major competitive exams of our country include the JEE, the NEET, and the UPSC. And the on the upper rung, the second rung comes in the TNPSC and the other state public service commissions exam, and the other judicial exams as well. So now to assist the students in preparing for these competitive exams, there is a certain need to incorporate an outer wall so that these coaching institutions do not transgress into the students' mental health or do not attempt to financially exploit the students and the parents, provide safety and regulate the entire industry as such. The education industry in India, as we all know, is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and when recognizing these challenges, the Ministry of Education has introduced the guidelines for regulation of coaching centers 2024, and the Ministry of Higher Education has introduced the guidelines for prevention of misleading advertisements in the coaching sector 2024. Both these guidelines operate in tandem, and they aim to standardize operations and improve transparency and to ensure the in the essence to ensure the welfare of the students and as well as their parents. So the major question that we get is, why is there a need for regulation? The first is the increase, as Jayapal sir stated before me, there is an increased reliance on coaching centers in the current scenario. Or statistically speaking, over 50% of the students who are preparing for any sort of an examination rely on private coaching. This is due to the rising competition in the entrance exam, as normalized this reliance with families often ready to spend exorbitant on coaching fees. Say, for example, the coaching centers that pop up at every nook and corner of our country with respect to IIT JEE or recently the NEET and the evergreen industry called the UPSC. So all this creates... Pardon, sir. So this creates a systematic concern. Some of the exploitations that are taking place in the country include the unregulated fees, which in the fine print is often stated to be non-refundable, and many centers provide inadequate infrastructure despite the high fees. All of you might have heard news stories coming out of Kota or the recent one in Delhi, where students often commit suicide or take unnecessary recourse on their lives, get addicted to get addicted to drugs and often engage in substance abuse just to ensure that they are able to satisfy their parents as well as the society at large. All this stems to the misleading practices. As we all know, centers frequently inflate the success rate and may make false claims about the faculty credentials. I quite recently saw a movie about an IAS officer, which was a huge success in Bollywood, which speaks about how which showed on the way in which a private coaching center was ready to pay exorbitant amounts of money to state that the such and such student who cleared the UPSC exam was ready to be part of, was an output of their coaching center. Such false claims and both about the student output as well as the faculty credentials increases a need to regulate the industry as such. And as I stated earlier, the student suicides and due to the high pressure environment that is being created within the coaching centers and between the coaching centers as such, requires an immediate intervention. In 2023 alone, there were around 40 cases of suicide just in Kota. Just imagine the other such coaching center units or districts across the country. Then there is another huge question where there is a legislative gap. The education being a concurrent subject, that is concurrent subject in the constitution, is where both the center as well as the states can create laws or regulations or rules. And since it's a concurrent subject, there's a huge fragmentation between the regulation. The regulation that you see in Tamil Nadu, for example, is vastly different from what you see in Kerala, and which is vastly seen in north or northeastern states as such. And many small and medium scale coaching centers, they often operate without oversight. And as stated, there are some high profile incidents are the fire tragedy in Surat, which claimed multiple lives, the Delhi flooding incident that Jaipal sir had mentioned, which claimed multiple lives. Again, Kota, students suicide in Kota and in multiple areas of Tamil Nadu. So all this has forced the central government to take notice of the fact that such incidents are taking place and bring in a proper guidelines for regulation of the coaching centers. So in 2024, the central government had brought in, the Ministry of Education had brought in the guidelines for regulation of coaching centers to provide a comprehensive framework to standardize the coaching centers across India. Some of the key features include mandatory registration with the competent authority, and each branch of the coaching center will have to be registered as a separate entity by itself. Then there are infrastructure standards that are being brought in, such as minimum space requirements, compliance with fire and building safety codes, provision of clean drinking water, restrooms, first aid facilities, for example. And then certain student welfare provisions were also brought in, such as weekly holidays to be given during festivals, and a maximum time duration of 5 hours daily coaching to reduce the stress that they put on the students. Then in having in-house psychological counselors, and emphasis on co-curricular activities when they are dedicated coaching centers, which will allow for a holistic development rather than concentrating only on the clearing the examination. And one other important regulation guideline that was brought in is a transparency in fees. The coaching centers beforehand should disclose the fee structure, the refund policies, and the exit options for the parents and the students in their prospectus as well as on their websites. And the refunds, the guidelines say the refunds must be processed on a pro rata basis for students with who are withdrawing midway through the course. So one high profile company which is currently embroiled with an dispute with the Board of Cricket Control for India had a policy of not providing any exit option or refund policies, which was highly frowned upon by multiple non-governmental organizations as well as state entities by themselves. Now, all these over exploitation of the upcoming resources of our country will be curbed down. Then the most important of all the guidelines was the code of conduct that was brought in the guidelines. The code of conduct in the guidelines provides for prohibition of guaranteed success or publishing of assessment results to reduce unhealthy comparisons amongst the students. And all the tutors that are being engaged must have a graduate qualification. Of as an ex-UPSC aspirant myself, I knew of a coaching center which I attended had only ex-students who were there as assistants to the faculty members teaching courses themselves. So such kind of behavior and such kind of transplanting of faculty resources is now curbed down through these guidelines. And the high amount of penalties were also brought in through these guidelines, such as fines starting from rupees 25,000 for the first time offense and escalating up to 1 lakh, and as well as cancellation for registration for repeated violations. And as brought in through multiple other laws in the country, a grievance officer was also asked to be established by these coaching centers, so that these grievance officers provide a redressal system for students as well as their parents, and a complaint or a register box should be available on premises at all points of time. And all these complaints and advices should be addressed on an immediate basis. Then following this guideline, the Department of Higher Education brought in the guidelines for prevention of misleading advertisements by the coaching centers in 2024 itself, following the guidelines. And these guidelines provided operational procedures, such as prohibited. Most of it was being copied from the earlier existing earlier guidelines given by the ministry, such as for prohibitions of false claims about the success rates, guaranteed outcomes of faculty credentials, increasing providing artificial urgency such as limited time offers or exaggerated popularity claims. Then mandatory disclosures were brought in, such as clear course details, the outcomes that the students can expect out of these courses, and the total amount of fees for the main course, as well as any additional course that has to be taken optionally by the students. And the disclaimers that are being, and all advertisements should have disclaimers like the ones that are given by the mutual fund trading partners or the insurance companies. And the main important point was that these disclaimers should be as prominent as the claims that they advertise in the claims that they advertise. And all of us might have seen multiple. Sir, you have some question, sir? Yes, sir.
Your question? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Most of these guidelines, whatever they're saying, we had provisions in the law earlier also. For example, Consumer Protection Act was taking care of most of these issues regarding coaching. I've been there in the coaching industry for 4 decades. So, I've been following it very closely. I'm the president of Coaching Federation of India. So I keep interacting with advocates like you, so that, we are on the right path. See, there are, like any other profession, there are flaws in this profession also. Even in legal profession, you will find.
Yes.
Okay. So that's part of this thing. We have a endemic problem of who will bell the cat? We already have laws for almost everything. Our constitution takes care of almost every part of it. Today, coaching is an issue which is because they are training for particular exams. A coach has to be taken as a coach, not as a school teacher or a university teacher or anything. Okay, so that person is just going to help the student in cracking that particular examination, which he has the experience or whatever it is, based on his own qualifications and experience and all those things. Now, coach is generally chosen by the student or the parents. Choose a particular institute. It is not mandatory for any child, unlike in schools. So we have, and regarding your mental health issue, is a very serious concern for everybody. It is a problem which is part of the society which is facing at large today. I know an IPS officer committed suicide. Forget about other people. You know, IAS officer committing suicide. Doctors, engineers, every profession. The mental health is a problem. We must understand that. We used to, in the past, we used to have the pagal. You know, the attitude was, forget him, he's mad. That's a disease. It's a problem. We need to address that. Our people are not sensitive to these things. That is absent. See, guideline, and unfortunately, I mean, I'm not against guidelines being framed, but unfortunately, guidelines, they never consulted anybody from the coaching industry. The Department of Higher Education decides. They have no idea how a coaching particular functions also. They have just replicated what has to be there in an educational institution like schools, colleges, or universities. A coaching is always area-centric. For example, a student from Dharmapuri will not go to Kota to learn. Or the parents will not send the girl child to a far-off place. Coaching has to be localized. It cannot be nationalized. It's hard. Because there is a shortage of big coaching institute, people go to places like Kota, Delhi, or Mumbai, or Aurangabad, or different places. Even Hyderabad, you know. All these have come up because there are large number of seekers for coaching in those areas. And coaching has evolved over a period of time by people who chose teaching as a profession. And they can't be getting into a formal school many a time because formal school requires a different approach. You have to do a BA and things like that. Today, engineers are teaching. Almost 3,000 to 4,000 engineers are recruited from IITs every year in the coaching industry. Can you believe it? Campus placement.
Yes.
So, you know, things have changed. We all need to be, I'm sorry for taking away your time.
No, this is actually, this is one of the questions. This is one of the questions that I expected. So why do we need a guideline now? Like you pointed out, we have the Consumer Protection Act. But however, the Consumer Protection Act is a general law. So however, the guidelines that have been brought in now is a very specific act, at a very specific audience. And
so we all understand it's on the concurrent list.
Yes.
First of all, center cannot come out with a standard for guidelines for the entire country. Even now, what will happen is
no. To answer your question, these guidelines are just a guideline. So
I got it.
Each state can bring out their own specific set based on this common ideology. This is just a theme. So the
problem is we are trying to impose the same restriction like school, colleges, universities, where the government, whether it's a state government or the central government, is allocating land at very reasonable prices for running an educational institution. Coaching per se runs in commercial places. Imagine the cost at 50 to 100 rupees to 400 rupees per square feet. How can a coaching institute depend on a low fee structure when they are going to pay, 400 rupees square feet, that fellow is going to charge a huge amount. That's happening in places like Bombay, in places like Bangalore, in places like Delhi. I know that. No, I'm from Delhi, so I understand the predicament. I mean, see, if we are trying to generalize, the problem is there in every sphere of life today. Because of the social media, everything, now children's attention has gone into so many areas. You're all worried, really worried. It is affecting everybody. Child is mental, his health issues, it's too much of overloading of content.
Yes.
Mr.
Today-
Narayanan, please.
Yeah, please.
Let Mr. Vedavel has complete his.
I
point.
mean, those
And
something
next
about
time,
the guidelines,
Yeah, yeah.
so I thought I'll.
I could understand your feelings, your experiences, and all the things. Let him complete it first, and the next
Because
session I'm
my
going to
time
give
is
it.
already encroached.
That's not a problem, sir.
No,
We'll
because
give
I
extra
have
time
another
to you.
meeting coming up. That's why.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I'm going to complete very soon, so I'm not going to encroach into your time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, please, sir.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Vedal, please proceed.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So yeah, so I was saying, yes, there are like I stated, there are general laws in force, but however, at some point of time, there is a need for regulation in any sphere of life. Because without regulation, we see a lot of transgressions. Not I do not want to go into names, but yeah, like I stated earlier, there are certain institutions which often transgress into the prohibited areas. Like where do we draw a line between what is permitted, what is a green flag, and what is a red flag? We cannot get these coaching institutions to transgress into private lives and take away additional lives also. This flaw lies not only with the private coaching institution, it also lies with the education system. If the education system is there, if the education system is proper, then there would be a rather equal competition between the regulated and the free areas. But however, since the regulated area is not able to sustain the pace to which the country is attempting to grow, there is a requirement for the unregulated area to be regulated, and that is where these guidelines come in. And yes, coming into the area where Mrityunjay sir was going in, these guidelines, while they are a step forward, there are several challenges. So amongst the challenges that Mrityunjay sir had pointed out, there is a huge coordination issue that is raised by these guidelines. These guidelines give out a very broad area. They state, like they state counselors should be brought in place. Do we have enough proper counselors or to handle all the pressure that is there on the students? We have even in the legal system, when they to take an example, if there's a matrimonial dispute, they are asked to go for a mediation session where there are qualified counselors trying to reach the issue. But more often than not, even if allowed between themselves, these people, if they are allowed to talk between themselves, they would have come out with a better resolution than these counselors who go on to to push these people away from each other and go for a divorce. So there is a coordination issue and there's a qualification issue as well with the counselors, and the coordination issue between the central and the state governments, we all know, which is very difficult for the multiple governments to act cohesively. And then there are enforcement gaps. There are small and rural coaching centers which operate under the radar, which are not registered, and these coaching centers often do not undertake, the central government or the state government or any entity as such do not inspect the premises of these coaching centers often. And then like all laws in India, then there is a lack of awareness about these guidelines between the students and the parents, guidelines or the laws that govern them between the students and the parents, and what is they are unable to understand where they are being preyed upon. So these guidelines aim to stop the coaching centers from preying up coaching centers or I will say even educational institutions to prey upon these unsuspecting individuals. And then resource limitations. State governments often lack resources and personnel to effectively monitor anything, for example. But however, now we are also asking them to monitor thousands of coaching centers. Every street has a coaching center, and how the state governments or even the central government, for example, will be able to monitor these coaching centers will be an important question as such. And these guidelines, to answer Mrityunjay sir, were not brought in by the central government or the state government or any ministry on their own. This was in fact a pressure from the Supreme Court of India in the Student Federation of India, was the Union of India case, where the Supreme Court acknowledged the need for the policy framework to regulate coaching centers. And the National Education Policy 2020 also highlights the harmful effects of the coaching culture and emphasizes reforms in the board and entrance exam to reduce the reliance on private coaching. I understand all these moves by the different arms of the government are encroaching upon how the coaching centers are going to sustain themselves in with all these guidelines and regulations upon them. But however, on a broader perspective, these guidelines are required like any guidelines for any aspect of life. These guidelines or laws or regulations are required to ensure that lives are not lost. That is, lives are not lost, and the future resources of our country are well protected. In fact, multiple states like Rajasthan, Bihar, and Karnataka have already enacted complete regulations for their coaching centers, which addresses specific legal issues. Not based on these guidelines.
States can do it, no? Why? I mean, see, the requirement for a particular state and the requirement locally, they wanted to add teeth to that particular law. I mean, particular this thing. There are so many suicides happening in Kota. Why not? See, first of all, there is a big blunder of coaching institutes in Kota outsourcing the hostel facility to private enterprises. That's where the problem started.
Yes, that is where the guidelines come in.
Controlled themselves, they would have ensured that all the things should have taken place. And not most of these issues, most of the suicides are not because of the exam stress. It's because of n number of social media activities, which we know what's happening in the. That's a social issue. That's a problem.
Basically, no. If you ask the social media companies, they would be shifting the blame on private institutions. The private institutions can shift the blame on somebody else.
Institutions cannot be blamed. No, see, I'll tell you, parents also putting pressure. No, that fellow sells his land and sends
like I said,
no, it sends a child to Kota just because he wants his son to become an engineer or a doctor, whatever it is. They are doing like that and don't come back without getting qualified in this exam. It says parents are putting too much pressure on the child.
See, the shift of blame can every institute.
I just wanted my perspective.
Yeah, I completely understand. The shift of blame can happen from one institution to another. So there are shift of blame can happen from one institution to the other. Institution, I mean the family as an institution as well. So but however, there is a requirement to regulate at least some portion of some institutions.
Yes, certainly.
So that on a broader, wider scale, you do not see multiple institutions crumbling. See, we understand that a death of a particular individual in an institution of a family can wreak havoc on the entire family as such. So, but however, there are laws governing how a family can sustain and such. So, did we see in the history where some person stating that such laws should not be prohibited? Such laws should be prohibited. Yes, we did. But however, people start living, and bringing on such laws has not brought anything down, but rather it has elevated everybody to a higher scale. And that is what these general guidelines aim to achieve.
No, but it's having a different effect. Okay. Why I am talking about this is because it is crushing the hopes of a lot of children. We go through all those things. No, we are actually facing that. No, because of some mistakes done by a particular institute in Surat, the fire tragedy started. Then all the fire protection, all the act and all, they started working on that. Why we have to, can't we think where there is a huge congregation, we have to have laws in place? If the laws are not in place, I think most of the existing laws take care of that. But the thing is, the implementation is a problem in our country. There are so many pending cases.
Yes.
You know the
Yes,
kind of
that is what I pointed out in my I think implementation challenges not exist it does not exist only in these guidelines, but in rather every law. Just because we have a law that prohibits certain illegal activities does not mean those illegal activities do not take place. But have these laws curbed the illegal activities? Yes, they do. They definitely do. So such guidelines, will they completely eradicate all the problems that I have pointed out or you have pointed out? No. But will they curb these from happening on a large scale? Yes, they will. That is what I see.
Recently also there was a suicide. I'll tell you, he lost. वो suicide वाला जो है law नहीं देखता, वो उसका दिमाग वो परेशान. I'm sorry, I use a bit of Hindi.
Yeah, no issues. If you can translate, it would be in a better position to answer that.
It gets this thing, that fellow is perturbed and there is nobody to listen to him. The child is suffering. So mental health is a serious problem today, particularly after the social media, because everybody knows about what's happening in the world.
Yeah, we do have a mental health act in force, but these guidelines take derivations from the mental health act. See, just because there's some legislation, a wide legislation, there will not be a possibility of everybody implementing it. But if a certain industry is asked to do it, say for example, the education industry is asked to do it, then you have an influx of good education counselors who are there at every sphere, and the student might be able to go there. So if there are 100 students facing mental health issues, and if such a guideline or such an act is able to save 99 lives, I would call that a success. Even if it is able to save 50% of the lives, I would consider that guideline a success.
Okay.
Yes, yes sir. So any other questions, or is there a questions and answer session at the last?
No, we will, I think probably if any questions, they will put across in the chats and we will take it across.
Sure, that'd be perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Vedavel, for your excellent and very fast session on this
thank you.
On the legal guidelines recently established by the Government of India. And a few points I want to highlight, that is the increased reliability on these coaching centers. You insisted that because there is a huge need among the students for the various competitive exam and all the things. So that is the role of the coaching center is unavoidable. So definitely because of this latest some unwantable incidents, Government of India has to put across some rules and regulation. And Mr. Krishna Narayanan rightly told that coaching centers are local made, not for a we cannot take it as a whole rule for the thing. Anyway, we just started an implementation, and because of the increased wrong behavior, definitely of the few coaching centers are failing. Because of that, it is reverting back to all the good centers. Yes, really, the point has to be considered, and law enforcing on the infrastructure, maintenance, and physical stress to be avoided, mind relaxation, holistic development, transparency in that is most important, and teachers' qualification, misguiding the students, parents, all these are law is taking across. This is really a welcoming one, and Mr. Narayan sir also told that yes, we are welcoming, but the law is enacted without any consideration on the coaching part. This is really a sad one. Anyway, thanks, Mr. Vedavel, for your very quick and excellent explanation on these recent guidelines given by the Government of India. Now, it's time for Mr. Narayanan, who is actually the receiving end of this law. He is the president of Coaching Centers of India.
Not at all.
Okay. Few seconds, sir. I just introduce you, sir. He is an expert in leveraging the artificial intelligence to enhance the learning accessibility, skilled in business development, proven track record in coaching and leadership. He is an experience in education technology and artificial intelligence integration. and he's having a strong background in managing the budgets, negotiating deals, and creating such a strategic alliances. He is also advocate for scalable education solutions. Definitely, we are very happy to have you, sir, because the president of Coaching Institute of India, definitely you will be committed with a lot of time and activities. And we are, on behalf of the Consultant Consortium of Chennai, I am welcoming you for this
Thank you.
session, sir. And please
Thank you.
share your
Sure.
your part side, sir. Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir. Please.
How much time I have, according to
No, go ahead, sir, please, because
Please
this
go
is
ahead, sir.
interesting
Because,
conversation. No such things.
yes.
We
Yes.
do once in a while conversations. We are more determined to do more conversations like this
Yes, sir.
because
I'll start with the why coaching, because the
Yes.
first and foremost thing is there is a general thing like then there is a school which is taking care of the school education. Why coaching? Because this is because of the aspirations of people to put them in a particular popular or reputed universities and colleges for higher education. I mean, right from undergraduate courses. And it started off with, I studied in a school, Tamil school here in Delhi. It's called Delhi Tamil Education Association. In our class, there were about 6 boys who were preparing for IIT exam. That's when somebody told there's a engineering college behind that jungle. That is, that's what we knew about IITs as such when I was in school. There's no, everybody is preparing. I said, okay, what exactly you need to do? So I went and found out that nobody was there to help me find out. Other fellows also had the same problem. So I went to the old Delhi where to get old books, exclusive books. I'll tell you, this will be important for you to understand how the coaching has started off. We went and bought some books. I said, first, give me some past exam papers. He said, the last 5 years question paper will give you. So those days it was very cheap and things like that. I bought some English author books and for mathematics. I mean, I realized that maths is generally a tough subject for everybody. So maths, and then bought some for physics also, chemistry also. Started off. So that time, about 29,000 odd students gave the IIT examination, and 2,200 students were selected for the IITs. My rank was 1893. Honestly telling you, I was just on the borderline. But I found that I was at least in the top 2,000 students of those aspiring students. So I said, okay, this is enough, because this examination requires a specialized preparation, and our school education is not sufficient. That's what went in the back of my mind. I hope all of you are able to hear. Voice is okay?
Yes, sir. Perfect, sir. You can go ahead, sir, please.
Yeah. So that's how. Down the line, I got admission in REC Warangal. They were giving me metallurgical engineering. I didn't take it because I said, you are second in electronics waiting list. So I said, okay. I didn't get electronics. That some third fellow, he applied those days, some minister's quota or something like that. He took that. I came back to Delhi, then joined physics honors. So that's how, my career started. So, but everybody in this thing was asking, that you prepared and you qualified the exam, you help me. So, that's how I started off, helping few students, asking, how this examination is. That time it wasn't that popular, that IIT entrance exam, but over a period of time, it has picked up so much this thing. So I founded IIT Study Circle way back in 1981. We were the first classroom coaching for IIT. Brilliant was doing some correspondence course in medical entrance to start with. Then Agarwal classes was doing correspondence course for IIT entrance from Bombay. So we started, I along with some of my classmates who were there in the IIT, I said, chalo, let's start off with this thing so that future students benefit out of it. That's how it started. Over a period of time, it's now more than 4 decades, 43 years to be precise. So the coaching I have seen, it's basically a localized area, and as I rightly said, people don't want to send their children to far off places because transportation and but till the time the child comes back home, the parents are certainly upset about the child. And it started more like Jaipal was saying, it's more like tuitions, then tutorial. From there, it has got elevated to coaching institutes or elevated or whatever it is, renaming it. So coaching institutions over a period of time has evolved because the need for this qualifying such competitive exams. And our schools, you cannot blame the schools. They are having a set syllabus and they have to do that within that time frame. Schools have a role to play in overall developing the child, not just in the subjects, overall development of the child. So, for example, somebody wants to play football, you need a football coach. Wants to play cricket, you need a cricket coach. Similarly, if somebody wants to prepare for IIT entrance, he needs an IIT coach. Similarly, you go preparing for medical entrance or a law, nowadays CLAT, you have exams. There are so many CUET and all the exams. They need a coach for that. And that's how coaching industry has come up. And unfortunately, the number of people getting educated had increased, and regular those having aspirations in teaching, regular schools and universities cannot absorb them. The number of, even today, there is a 30% placements students don't get even in IIT Bombay job, campus placement, 30% don't get. Imagine that's the condition today. Because the manufacturing center is reduced quite a bit. It is only the service sector which is able to absorb. So there is a problem at a very different level. All the manufacturing had gone down. Now it is coming up again. Probably in another 5 to 10 years, we would become a big manufacturing base also. But then that's it. Because of computerization, a lot of industries have got automated. So that many people don't get jobs. Now AI, it's great. It's going to eat away a lot of teaching jobs also. So that this keeps, technology will keep changing, and a lot of things, new things will keep coming up. Now, regarding guidelines, I had this reservation because problem is a Ministry of Higher Education, a Department of Higher Education cannot just understand. It is not just education. Coaching is about, if you look at IIT examination, student getting 26% in the JEE advanced examination gets the 10,000th rank in the IIT entrance, which means there are 16,500 odd seats, and he's already in the 10,000, he gets one of the IITs. What is the logic for getting 26% in an examination? They are not getting that many students who are good enough to get 50. There are top 500 students, they are very good. After that, it goes up to 26%, I'm telling you, 10,000 rank. That's a pathetic situation. Our current examining system or the education system in schools is not sufficient to help students crack these exams. It requires a specialized preparation. And that's why coaching centers come up. Now, why a lot of IIT graduates are coming into this? Because they're being paid well and they're able to teach, they know the subject well. And that's why they've grown up. Similarly, medical entrance. A lot of doctors are shifted to coaching today because doctors are not getting opportunities. Then everybody cannot practice. It requires a lot of investments. So there are a lot of doctors, engineers. There are a lot of engineers who are unemployed. Forget about that. There's a big blunder in setting up so many engineering colleges without developing industries. So many engineers are jobless today. It's because, I mean, they are getting into all the other fields. They're not, no more engineers now. They're like any other graduate, that's all. I know there are so many engineers who are not getting even a railway coolies job. Forget about that is a pathetic situation in the country. So engineers or doctors, and we are in for a trouble because we are still living in the age-old Macaulay system of education. We have not changed much. At least our mindset hasn't changed. I know there are a lot of things to be needed done in school education also, where they are given the latest in technology. Why not? Why AI is not taught to these children? They will become much better than all of us. They'll be 10 times faster than us. Children are fertile brains. All the things to be given in schools. We are missing that, and we're looking at alibi for that. Every they go to a theater, the fire protection system is not good enough. Even there is a fire in Vigyan Bhavan. Forget about the which is where all the conferences are held in New Delhi. There's a fire everywhere. Fire hazards. It's all antiquated fire systems we have. Even in New York City, all the old buildings are not ready for fire protection as per today. So there is a problem. We all need to change. We all need to understand what is happening in the society at large. And just by coming out with the law doesn't matter. Implementation of law is more important. It is hardly implemented. I remember even when we filed this thing in the courts, in High Court, it's going on. For years it will go on. After 10 years, the whole thing will... this is a very pathetic situation. It's there in almost all spheres. Mental health is a serious problem. Parents are just putting their child, you somehow get qualify this exam. Otherwise, we have put in all our stake in you. Why a parent want a child to be what they missed out, the child should be doing it. And a child will live on his own. In today's world, they are much better than us. All my aspirations, if I had not become an IAS officer, I'll push my child to become an IAS officer. Why? That many seats are already. I'll tell you one very clear thing, that with or without coaching, only that many students are going to get through. So coaching has no role to play other than enhancing their performance from X to X plus Y. That's it. The child who studies himself at home, back home, coaching is a help, utility. They will not do great things unless they work on
Sorry
them.
to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you. Hi, this is Chandana. I'll be speaking next, but I just wanted to ask you, because I'm dealing with the need, but I felt like I should interrupt you here and get your idea, because I have to get into the needs after this, and you were saying that why should the parents put this pressure, or why should they push them to not everybody to become an IAS officer or all of that. I completely understand that. But, this is in the Indian society, we're all very competitive, right? And the population and everything, there is a need to succeed, right? Now, I want to ask this question back to the coaching institutions. Why are they making promises that every student can become an IAS officer? Why are they opening so many branches and giving people...
I'll say, not every student, any student can become an IAS officer.
Right?
See, that all is a conscious thing. The child has to start feeling it. So
I also
parent,
feel like
as a parent,
even the institutions, right? They should actually have a objective criterion to admit students into this. I don't see coaching centers going into the whole.
Every such, which doctor tells you will not be cured? Nobody tells you.
No. So then we have to unfortunately come down to these, guidelines and,
for
you
any
know,
service sector, every service
I
sector.
just wanted to bring this up, sir, because
That's
see,
very correct.
I like that we are putting some burden on the society and the community as a whole. But if I'm running an institution, right, I shouldn't promise to make claims that I can cure cancer, for instance, if I have not done the work.
Example, what I tell them is, I make this point very clear. This many seats are only there. Can you
Right.
reach up to here?
Right.
We are like catalysts. We'll accelerate your learning process. That's
Right.
what. Ultimately,
Right.
you have to be in the learning mode.
Right.
So we need to be, for every industry, every society, part of society, you'll always have scapegoats. You'll always have violators. You'll have criminals. That's the problem with the teacher having relationship with the student there. Even that's also a problem. It's a genuine problem. So our society is going through all these processes, and one act, they don't care, a criminal act, forget about these things. People commit murders. It's all these acts are everywhere. It's so much of corruption. Today, forget about anything else here. In Tamil Nadu, I heard the teachers, you have to pay this much bribe to become a teacher, school teacher. Why? Isn't that so? I cannot blame that the whole education system is bad or the government is bad. There will always be scapegoat. There will be criminals in politics. There will be criminals in everywhere. Our laws are good enough to handle all the criminality, but the thing is, there has to be intent to put the criminals off. I don't have to create too many acts. See, the problem is with the master plan. I'll tell you, in Delhi, I've been there all my life in Delhi. Right from last 3 decades, the 3 decades back, there was a bill passed almost and was waiting for Rajya Sabha, this thing. It did not, they just suppressed it. There was a coaching bill that was going to come 3 decades back. So I have gone through the whole thing because we also represent on behalf of coaching institutions in Supreme Court, High Court, and things like that. So we need to be having all the first-hand information. It's a very serious. Our problem is of any growing or a developing country. All these problems are natural. And coaching is a localized problem. It's now, for example, a student child. If I take Chennai, this thing. Are you from Chennai? No.
Yes, I am from Chennai too, sir.
Okay. So you are in, say, let us say, Nungambakam. A student from maybe Tambaram may not go to Nungambakam to fine. There's a local train and things like that. May not go to Nungambakam, or the child will not be sent that far. He will say, yeah, somewhere near, let me send my child. Today, coaching is basically a local tuition center or whatever it is. So even the NEET coaching center will be there in Tambaram. There'll be one in Adyar, one in Nungambakam. There'll always be places. So that student needs a support better than what is there happening in school, so that that child is able to perform better in that examination. No, local, they may be very highly qualified, may not be highly qualified. So even that possibility comes. That the parents will not decide. Parents will decide based on whether the institute has sufficient qualified teachers or not. Otherwise, they will not put their child in that. Those days are gone. That people will not question you. Everybody questions before putting their child into. So I think I have answered most of your this thing. I don't know, but then let me go ahead further on the issue of coaching per se is required. Yes, some level of regulations, if it is absent, that needs to be added. I certainly welcome the move by the government in talking about mental health issues. It is not just coaching, it is there in even in IIT, student after having qualified, studying in the 3rd year, he committed suicide just this year. So that's mental health issue is a very serious thing, and I think all our healthcare has to be vitalized in those areas also, because I think mental health is regarded as the last resort, not the first resort. It has to become a first resort for the child to having a counseling. And counselor in education institution came up much later. It was required more for the healthcare. So mental health care and all, counselor was required. Today, here it is not counselor, it is counselor who is selling that student, the course. So it is, the counselor has lost its meaning in coaching institute. So there is no point in having a counselor for coaching institute. Yes, you need a medical help. That could be a medical, big institutes, yes. We cannot have the same laws for a small provision store in a colony and one in a mall. The footfalls are different. My concern is that a single classroom teacher who is just surviving on his for his bread and butter by teaching few children should not be stopped with all the paraphernalia of so many laws and regulations to be followed. He will not be able to survive. I know we funded a family where coaching teacher committed suicide. There's one this month only, in coaching teacher committed suicide in Kota. So the suicidal tendencies have become common nowadays. Aspirations, failure and aspirations and all those things.
Mr. Narayanan, sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, please.
Being the president of this federation, you have came across how the industry is responding to this new law.
So industry,
coaching industry.
any law, certain basic things are anyway being followed. For smaller institutes, yes, it's a problem. But for bigger institutes, there is not a problem. No, they're like 5-star hotels. In Kota, if you go, there'll be escalators in a coaching institute.
Oh, okay.
So it's like in a mall, entering a mall,
Okay.
and, there are 200 classrooms, 100 classrooms, or 50 classrooms. The big ones.
Oh, okay, okay. It's
So
more
when
than
you
a school.
Kota, you will know, okay, this is how coaching centers are run.
Okay, okay.
So they will have all the facility, air purifier, everything is there. Even a complete backup electrical wiring, and everything is there. They have a huge paraphernalia. Some 25,000-30,000 students are studying in a single coaching center. So obviously, and their big institutes have 10 such centers.
Oh, it's more than an IIT.
That's what is happening. Oh, see, not just in Kota, you have in Sikar, you have one in Jodhpur. Similarly, in Hyderabad, you find so many of them.
Okay, okay.
The entire Andhra Pradesh, Visakhapatnam, and all like so coaching centers are plenty of them, because educational talented people who qualified exams and who are qualified the engineering or medicine, they're not getting jobs. What will they do?
Okay.
They will do only teaching. They will not go and put a trolley for selling idlis or dosas. Huh?
Okay.
They know their field. They will start teaching, and since if they're good, students will accept. The parents pay money for that. So it is not any illegal thing which where people are selling drugs here, everywhere, and we are not bothering about them. We are behind teachers who are educating children, and it is not enforcing. Yes, there are some violations. I'm not denying that. Like every field, there will be violators.
Okay.
In
so
coaching,
how good?
Somebody might buy some results and claim it's there. These sort of things keep happening. We have to curb all those things. It is true. It's not that it's not happening.
Okay.
I'm not denying that. But then, as a federation, I'm going to make things tougher for these people. But I'm not. I just kept it light because we started during COVID time, and they felt that everything got closed. So over a period of time, right now we are just evolving. we
Okay.
are serious about making accredited coaching centers, those who follow certain norms.
That's why that's my next question, sir. Actually, I
Yeah,
want to ask.
that we are working on that because I'll
Okay.
tell you, ultimately, we will not any cheat to get away with get
Okay.
away with doing his
Okay.
time. We
Okay.
will-
Okay. Say, as like for the colleges, this NAC accreditation is there. Like that, coaching centers can have the accreditation so
Yes,
that instead of making money, the quality will be the primary part, so that the fit only can survive all the fascinating
they need to do it,
fake.
no? Because if
Yeah.
they don't do it, they will
Okay.
anyway shut down. See, I'll tell you,
Okay.
coaching is an optional thing. No, it's not a mandatory thing. If that
Okay.
fellow doesn't work efficiently, he will have to shut down his center.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
where is the role of the government here? I mean, see, it's not the government need not get into that. They just need to follow that mental health problems are there, docs, hospitals are there. You tell me about this civil services, these 3 children who lost their lives. First of all, basement was given approval by the Municipal Corporation of Delhi.
Yes.
Why did they give?
Okay.
Can't they be? Why they were not hauled up? Why Supreme Court could not say anything on that? Because there's a violation at the Government of India level or the Municipal Corporation of state level. They have not done the desilting in the Yamuna for so many years. I've been watching Yamuna for all my life.
Okay.
Now become your Kuvam in Madras. That's all.
Yes. Yes.
It's as good as Kuvam in Madras, or as
Okay.
bad as Kuvam in Madras.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So that's what is happening. They don't bother about the basic things. A drainage it was overflowing for a long time, and they have not acted on it. Municipality.
Okay. Okay.
They have not acted on it. Suddenly, because the stormwater drainage, everything went inside. One vehicle fellow moved swiftly, so it just accelerated that, and that water went in. It is an accident. It's an accident.
Oh.
But then, yes, why MCD should give for basements, library? Why did they give allotment?
So
Approval.
definitely, so my perception, definitely this act will set right some role model for the coaching centers, how the
Yes,
infrastructure has to be.
let it be. See, I'm not against any act, but
Okay,
then
okay.
you have to rectify those things first.
Yes, yes.
Problem is when that fellow takes money and gives him a approval, where is that? Where is that logic? Whichever state it is, every state is like the same, no, in India.
Okay.
Everything gets bought by, fire protection, fire safety certificate. That fire fellow, you just throw some money and he will give you fire safety certificate. Where is the law? Law is in implementing it, no? Very unfortunate.
And I want to mention here, sir, in Tamil Nadu, in Kumbakonam, in the year 2004, play school got into fire, and almost more than 90 kids were died because of this fire incident.
Okay.
And after that, the Tamil Nadu government was very serious in protecting the school kids, and they have enacted various laws. And I came across this fire departments. They are very serious and sincere when they are inspecting the schools and colleges, because they don't want to get these things repeated. And I found that fair play was done by this fire department related to these schools and colleges and the
No,
play
see,
school career.
there was a fire in a fire station also in Delhi. Forget about that.
Okay, okay.
But the fire protection system isn't working in the station. Forget about other.
Yeah, that's right, sir.
So
but
we require all
I
this.
I used to travel a lot of schools across the Tamil Nadu on implementing this various management system, and I have found that there is a really fair play done by this fire department. Whatever the problem in the department, that's not a problem. But related to the students, really they are very serious in implementing the systems.
They better be, because they better be. It's very important. Our governance have gone down so badly.
That's right, sir.
Everywhere, every state, it is a problem. It's not just in. We know in Delhi also it's a problem. In Bombay also it's a problem. Everywhere it is a problem. Where is the law? We don't implement laws. Problem is that our constitution is very good enough. It
Yes,
takes care
yeah.
of almost every issue. That's what I was telling your lawyer friend, that this is a problem we need to understand. Yesterday, I was going through the Republic TV. They were talking about all these OTT platforms, how they are just pushing content to the, and so many children are getting affected.
Yes.
We are really worried. I mean, see what's happening to the children today is too much overload of content.
Yes.
Even the normal, even coaching also institutes, everywhere they give so much of material. I said, why do you have to give so much material to get 26% in the examination?
Okay.
If you get 26%, you are selected for that examination. Where is the need for so much of content? That fellow will not study at all. If you give him a book full with 1,000 pages, when will he study? After school,
Definitely.
to prepare for their 11th and 12th in the schools, as well as prepare for NEET or any exam. Where do they have so much time? We are abusing these children by giving them too much of content. Now, I'm just telling the coaching institute, you just need to do this, that's it. Follow that.
Okay.
The examination is
Okay.
same, no, whether a Chennai student is giving or an Andaman student is giving. The same syllabus, same everything the way they are examining. It's a common examination, whether it's IIT or NEET, it's a common examination. They just have to do these things. Do thorough research in that and just deliver the content. Let there be, why should be a Allen content or Akash content or a Fiji content? I mean, why so much of content? Today, I just tell my AI boss, create a lesson plan for me. It'll prepare, no? Where is the problem today? Content is not a problem today. What content to be given is a problem. People don't understand that. So just give them the limited content to crack that examination, which requires some multi-concept questions, which they have not been exposed in school. And keep your batch size, batch type as homogeneous batch instead of heterogeneous batches in schools. School students of all levels are sitting together in a class. Sections are not decided by how they are performing. In fact, it is decided by the roll numbers.
Okay.
So in a coaching institute, it should be same level of students, at least closer to. I'm not saying 100% same level will be there.
Okay.
But then, students of the same particular level are together in a particular section. So that the teacher has to teach more for these children, less for those children who are already abreast with that.
Okay, sir.
So we need to focus on how to deliver, what to deliver, and that's how results will come. Results will anyway come whether coaching happens or not. But the thing is, students can perform better even if they don't get qualified in a IIT examination. They may qualify for a SRM or a very popular institution. They will go to a better institution. Doesn't matter. Anyway, the subject will be useful to them throughout their life.
Definitely.
If they've done a better performance in that subject, they will remember that. That's what is required. I mean, coaching does that. It's a fine-tuning of their skills, what they have learned in school. That's it.
Okay.
Well, they are doing it together along with their school, certainly better. Like first sir was saying, the English sir, was saying it very clearly. I used to teach the first 3 months, 11th syllabus completed. That's what we do in coaching also. We do that syllabus completion so that, they are able to handle multi-concept questions.
I got a question to Ms. Narayan.
Please.
Being the Federation executive or chief whatever, would you consider asking your members and other institutions to admit a small percentage, maybe 1%, even 0.5% of deserving poor students free of cost?
I got your point. I'll address this. During COVID time, we arranged an online program like this on a Zoom platform. We set 1,000 seats for poor and economically weaker section students who want to qualify these exams to be given by coaching institutes. So I said every coaching institute, even if you are able to take 2 students from your side, 1,000 students can be given this scholarship of free education, free coaching for their children. This is what you are talking about, am I right? Free guidance or a fee structure to be less? Or did I overshoot into some other area? Please.
Yes, sir. He is actually coming across that point only. You can give only for the person who is money having can attempt the coaching class. Instead of that,
No.
use
We
fee.
want to give free this thing. That time, during COVID time, I said 1,000. Now we can give it to 10,000 also. Not a problem. See, every institute should have at least one batch of economically weaker students. Why should they? What mistakes they have done? We need to give them.
Okay.
I'll get funds from the corporates to fund them. Not a problem.
Yeah.
See, you have CSR initiatives, no? The poor children can benefit. Why not?
Okay.
Already.
Okay, Mr. Narayanan, from the Consultant Consortium of Chennai, we assure you to give extend our support when you are forming these accreditation guidelines for your coaching centers.
Sure.
Because we are all having a lot of managerial experts, have implemented this system and all the things for various institutions.
We need because I'll tell you, during the COVID time, those very few people, everybody is afraid, So some of the coaching sector people we had invited and we put all the top, but that time when Mr. Bansal was there, he was also invited to be strategic advisor. Mr. Brajesh Maheshwari of LN. Then I invited Dr. Chaudhary also of Akash, but he was not well that time. So, almost we are represented by almost all the coaching centers. In big institutes and small. I am really concerned about small institutes, not big institutes. Big institutes have all the wherewithal with them.
Okay. Right.
They don't need Coaching Federation of India support.
And thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful time and sharing a lot of
really concerned about
challenges.
Yes, in Dharmapuri, if there is a coaching institute, if it is struggling, we want to stand with them.
Okay.
So that's, I am a Tamilian also, and I have lived all my life in more than 60 years, and I am already 65. So I spent all my life in Delhi.
Okay, sir.
2-3 years I spent in Hyderabad. Otherwise, most of the time in Delhi.
Okay, fine, sir.
So my daughter is also a corporate lawyer, like young friend Vedvel.
Okay.
So she
very happy.
National Law University alumni. She has done her LLB honors and LLM from National Law University, Delhi.
Great, sir.
She's a corporate lawyer, one of those big corporate law firms. So my son is an engineer working for Meta. He's in the US. So we understand, the predicament and these aspirations of these children, and we want them to benefit out of this. And for me, it's a social work. I am interested at more and more institutes. Let them be. Every time some institute fellow comes and, I can give gyan. That's all.
Okay, good, sir. And being these industries is not properly regulated, there are a lot of issues came up, and government have now just taken up one initiative.
Sir, my problem is government needs to. If they want to regulate, they have to talk to us.
Yeah, they just started. So even immediately, when there is a compulsion or any registration, something is coming up.
We sent a representation, our team with Haryana government. They did the modification according to that.
Yes.
Let them do that.
Definitely the miles to go. Whenever a law is enacted, definitely there is a plus and minus. All the different type of opinions will be coming.
There is a law for doctors. You don't consult Doctors Federation or NCA.
So just to
meaningless.
So just to interrupt, on 16th of February 2024, the CCPA had in fact put out legal publication stating that all stakeholders are welcome to give their opinion on these guidelines. Until 16th March of 2024, it was open to the general public as well as all stakeholders to give
I know they give hardly a week's time for everybody to respond. This is how laws are enacted in Delhi. So I am sitting in Delhi, my dear. I'm watching all these, the way laws are being enacted. I've been
Okay.
watching all these things. Because if they are very serious about enacting a law, why didn't you invite somebody from this industry or
Yes.
top institutes, किसी भी institute? I mean, the later Lieutenant Governor invited us. We went for this thing meeting. It's not that. Why do you do it after a thought? How can higher education department know the grievances of a coaching institution?
Yes, that is precisely why as early as 16th of February 2024, they had put out an advertisement asking for recommendations. And the guidelines came out in November 2024.
We have given enough letters to all the concerned stakeholders. They don't even bother to reply. Forget about anything. When I went to Supreme Court, they were forced to come. See, everywhere, when I go to High Court, they are forced to come. So ultimately, even then, the education department will be vanished there. Why higher education department should not come? They should come. They are challenging, no? They challenge certain aspects of that. Master plan.
Okay, sir.
You are the only approved the master plan for coaching institutes in 2006. Today you are saying your one law you have changed. You have reduced the student strength from 100 students to 20 students. What economic viability is there for a 20 student? Somebody will be paying 2 lakh rupees rent and they cannot even get 100,000 fees. Nobody will do it at a loss, no? It's meaningless.
But probably,
Okay, sir. Any law is subject to amendment.
probably because they
amendment
want to
and revision.
curtail on this specific ideology that
Issues,
only
yes.
the money factor is important and not the welfare of the students. This is
Okay.
probably the entire thing that they wanted to curb.
Okay.
No, so but
And
see, any profession, no, why? Even doctors, nursing home, it's not equipped enough. There were so many kids died there in nursing home in East Delhi. Why that has not been taken care of? Forget about the whole nation. Yeah, you have to start doing it in Delhi first. You're talking about a national level guidelines when you are not restricted coaching activities in Delhi in a particular way. You have not. Randomly, put some people on the job, and that's not the way it should be done. It needs serious thought. Somebody
yes,
sitting
sir.
in a
Definitely. So definitely it will come, sir. We cannot expect all the changes will happen on a single day and a single year. Definitely, definitely it
I
will come, sir.
agree. So it is not the profession or the industry which needs to be focused. For example, coaching institution teacher is not a brand.
Yes, sir. And
It's a particular trade. Coaching is teaching. That's all. Teaching in private. Private teaching is coaching. So you are affecting all the teachers who are doing private tuition. So many people don't get jobs.
Yes.
They're doing private tuition and surviving.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You cannot pass a law like that, no?
Yeah, there is no second thought in that one, sir. Because of some unwanted incidents happen, government
you
was
can
forced
say
to.
a
Yeah, government is-
supermarket coaching institute in a supermarket should have these conditions. In a local colony should have these conditions. Do you have?
Okay.
You don't have. Why they have not questioned? Had they included us, we would have helped them doing that. A small fellow who is teaching 5 children at home, he cannot, have all those things. Even 20 children in different, this thing. After 20 children, then that fellows, suppose somebody has done just BSc, he is teaching smaller kids for 9 times.
Sorry, I want to interrupt you here.
Yeah.
But they
Your
cannot do
time.
We are getting
stakeholder. They
echo.
cannot
I hope
invite
I'm not eating your time.
stakeholder to a meeting, sir. So
Chandana, you can take it across.
industry people, it is our duty to be vigilant of what is happening. And when the government or government agencies are inviting people to send their comments before they bring about some guidelines, that
When was
happens with any bill,
when was
anything
this?
which is coming out. I'm not able to hear you, sir. You're on mute, I believe.
Let me just. No, I'm not
It is
mute.
our duty also to, be vigilant of what is happening. I understand that you feel like you have not been taken into, but it was a 10-month time period given to all the stakeholders to bring about their grievances or bring about any change that they want to be brought about by these guidelines, right? So they cannot do this with every single person.
Do you think it had been taken? It had not been given by us?
If you do have
We had
grievances,
sent
we
to
want
all the
bring them
stakeholders.
forward because it would really help the industry in understanding
No.
what are those guidelines that
I'll
you
tell
wanted them
you.
to bring in, which aren't
I'll
being
tell
given.
you how coaching guidelines was formed. It was not formed in Delhi. It was made in Gujarat. Then it came to Delhi and was told to suddenly implement it. That's it. Hardly any time was given. Hello.
So it was a 10-month time period, sir. How is that
Ma'am,
time period?
I'm sitting and following it on a day-to-day basis. Okay. We
Sir,
are giving.
there is a particular date given, sir. The date of the press release is available to the general public.
So date of the press release is available, no?
So it was a 10-month period, right? Where all of this.
Today, we are unfortunately we're meeting today. I would have had you talk to me 10 months back also, I would have told you the same thing.
Sir, how
It was not, we were not given, we were not invited at all.
I agree with you that
Yes,
you know maybe you weren't given a specific invite.
I'm
sir,
not
but-
talking about me.
Okay.
Anybody from the coaching in fraternity, the industry at large, no coaching institute, nobody was given invite. Now, LG called us recently, last month.
Okay.
This is the first time they called, they took initiative that we want to invite some 30 odd coaching centers.
Okay.
And it has not happened before. Why at all I should be saying that there are
Because they're doing it in phases, sir. Because they're doing it in phases. Because you see, before any bill is passed, anything happens, there is a notification put out. It is our duty also to look at what is happening in our industry, right?
No,
Did
no,
you reach out to the guidelines?
Even after
Send out a representation, sir. I would really like to
Okay.
understand what were the representations made.
Chandana,
I'll
Chandana,
share.
one moment. Narayan sir, one moment, sir.
Yeah.
Say whatever happened in the past cannot be changed. Okay.
Right.
Who is
No,
right, who is wrong?
I can send the email which I have
this
sent
meet,
to the.
this, yeah, sir,
I
this
can share
meeting,
the.
we are planning.
Forward the email which
Yeah.
I had shared to the
Sir, definitely we know that you must
stakeholders
have.
of the government guidelines,
Yeah,
which I have got this thing, history of all the records sent, even with the High Court. We have challenged it in the High Court. Forget about the government, much before the government. We have done everything.
Yeah.
First,
I'm sure definitely you must have taken
first we
this,
sent to the government, they did not respond. Then we had to go to the High Court and challenge the guidelines. We have challenged it. It is there on record. It is not that I'm talking about today. Today we are meeting by chance that I'm able to share that.
On them, sir, but I also want to just bring it across that there have been attempts made to get representations also. Let us not say that nothing has happened.
No, there is much later, no. Look at the High Court judgment, no. You look at the High Court judgment, when was that?
Generally, when all this consultations happen, industry bodies represent in their own interest of all their members. They do represent, representations are sent. There's the other side also. What he says is also correct, not just this industry. There are many industry associations regularly say, representation sent, no responses, nothing is taken into consideration. So generally the regulations is always a hot topic friction. Maybe amendments may happen. Some invite is being sent now. Maybe they would have realized that, something was done intense. See, most of this derailments or the wrong practices are actually from online coaching centers. The issue is not here about offline or online. Coaching center is a coaching center. Many such frictions, especially after COVID, the parents started feeling the intense heat. And that is the reason why there is an intense pressure. All of us know a few brands when we open the newsletters, newspapers, what has happened. It's caused a lot of, families have gone into debt. parents really have gone out of their way to fund many of this, and it has actually pushed them into deep debts also. It's all these things are happening. So maybe there is a pressure to introduce something. Something was introduced. Maybe all stakeholders' consensus was not arrived at. Maybe there will be a sequential. It's a process, work in progress. They may still make amendments. And parents need coaching centers, students need coaching centers, but the way of doing things are not healthy at the marketplace. There are, like any other sector, as you rightly said, these things do continue, sir. We will continue to have this. It's a very good conversation. I will tell you the difficulty I had in getting speakers for this. Because this is, I'm telling you, I was about to reach out to you, Narayanan sir, because again I was getting connected to educational sector, because we do conversation on educational services for others, but then people couldn't connect with this topic at all, with this regulation from the mainstream educational sector.
They will not understand it, no?
They did not
See,
understand. They did not understand. And now when their expertise is being used to define regulations,
but
the foundation itself
that's
is
what
not
is my
all right.
concern.
The
That's what
foundation is not all right, because I was reaching, when we did so many sessions for educational services, academicians, we reached out. And I wanted somebody from the school system, because this has got nothing to do with colleges. This is a strong connect with the schools, actually. I just wanted to intervene here. That is why I just intervened.
No, good. No, see, discussion, healthy discussion like this should
Yes.
happen.
Yes.
See, it is independent of. I'll tell you, I have been fighting for their cause because I am really concerned about those teachers who are surviving. Their livelihood is dependent on that. I'm not bothered about. I have 48,000 coaching centers across the country, but only 4,000 of them are serious. Okay. So when I keep talking about 4,000 not institutes only. But actually, in Delhi NCR itself, Delhi government has a list of only 548 institutes. There are more than 4,000 institutes in Delhi NCR.
Veda said every street has a coaching center. Where whatever they coach, it's a different issue. Veda, I think you raised your hand. You wanted to say something. Maybe we can continue with Chandra's presentation also. Then,
Yeah, please.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes, ma'am.
Veda, you wanted
Yes,
to
ma'am.
say
Chandana can finish your presentation.
right.
Chandana, I think I ate into her time. That's why she's
That's
angry.
No, I think you asked very relevant questions. Before I was, looking to go into my presentation, I was worried about what I should deal with, because I felt like the need was apparent. I didn't know what I was talking about, right?
Okay.
But now I
Then
feel
go ahead.
there is a lot that I need to look into, especially, with the need and from where that perspective arises. But before that, if Sir wants to speak, I'll just give him a moment.
Regarding
Chandana,
what?
you can take it across. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I hope I can start, sir.
Giridhar and such, Aarti, can you please share Chandana's this thing?
Yeah, Aarti.
Aarti? Just one second. Yeah, she shared. Yes.
Okay. Welcome, Hari Sandana. She is an advocate, expert in intellectual property and real estate. She is an advocate enrolled with the Bar Council of India, practicing before the Madras High Court and various other regional courts.
That's why she was vociferous.
Yes. She specializes in end-to-end case management, expert in intellectual property, real estate, and tax matters, trusted advisor to many entrepreneurs and many organizations, and solution-driven approach. That is a key and important factor of her profession. And she has proven success by lot of winning the cases in trademark registry, GSTA, district courts, and various other courts and tribunals. And welcome, Sandana, for your session on this one. And what about this new law related to the advertisement, especially public coaching center? Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Chandana, this is your time. Take it across.
Thank you, sir. I'm actually really scared of going into such a specific area, considering how Mrityunjay sir was saying that we shouldn't have such specific guidelines. I'm in fact going into an even more, codified, really small niche as to misrepresenting advertisements. Now, I want to first go into the need, right? So initially there were very generic, broad principles of consumer protection that covered all of this. But what really happens in law or in general is when there are a lot of stakeholders constantly coming out and raising the same issues, there's a lot of attention driven to these topics. And now, with so many coaching centers, so many edutech platforms, so many of these coming up, there is bound to be n number of problems with these institutions. Now, one of the biggest problems, right, with these coaching centers or edutech platforms, which I also believe come under the concept of, coaching centers, is because of their availability, or because they are not bound to, let us say, a particular class or particular locality. Although sir kept emphasizing that, coaching centers are very localized and all of that, today the reach has gone so far. Today it doesn't matter where your coaching center is situated. If you have one teacher and one coaching teacher who is good at what they do, they're able to put out so much content which reaches so many people, right? So now, how do these platforms or these coaching centers put themselves out there in the public domain, right? You need keywords, you need to use fancy terms to grab people's attention, right? Because there are so many of them. So now what happens in such a situation? They are resorting to any sort of practices. Now, this is not specific to the coaching center industry. This is not specific to any particular industry. Tall claims are a part of any industry. And unfortunately, not only in our country, unless there is some sort of regulation or some sort of guideline, I'm not even saying regulation, unfortunately, in this country, we need to say, hey, this is how you need to do certain things. Like sir said, there are so many problems that we need to deal with. Yes, agreed. But there are some problems which are, bursting beyond comprehension, or bursting beyond, we're not able to curtail these problems. And when these problems start growing, or there are similarities in the sort of things that are happening, we see guidelines coming through. So now that is what has happened with these guidelines. So one of the interesting factors of these guidelines, and I want to draw a parallel with what has happened outside also. Just like, when brand ambassadors are endorsing products, unlike in the past, today they are also being held accountable for the products that they are endorsing, right? They are not simply mere contractors who are paid to come and advertise something. Over time, the courts have realized the ability or the influence that they had on the products that they were endorsing. Similarly, now, with very specific reference to coaching centers, now they have not only put the responsibility only on the coaching center. So it's not even specific to the coaching centers. They are even talking about the students or the people who are endorsing these coaching centers, saying that they shouldn't resort to malpractices or tall claims while promoting a particular coaching center. I want to first simply go through what are the conditions or what are the things that come under misleading advertisements. So some of them are making false claims regarding courses offered, or the fees, or the faculty details, or the exit policies, or false claim regarding the number of students selected, the rank of the students, the success rates that they have claimed to achieve, making false claims like guaranteed job selection, security of job, promotion, success at different stages of the exam, or false representation about the quality or standard of the services. And also another thing which would come under this misleading advertisement would be creating a false sense of urgency. You would depict false popularity, saying this course is going to run out, enroll soon, and pushing people to enroll immediately, or engaging in any other misleading activity. So these are some of the things which come under a misleading advertisement by a coaching center. Now, when we look at guidelines, we are trying to say what are the most common problems, and thereafter we are going into what are the obligations of the persons engaged in such coaching centers. So, when they are using a candidate's photograph in an advertisement or claim, saying they are disclosing their ranks or whatever it is into, they are supposed to mention the duration and, which course that this person was actually enrolled into. Then, when making advertisements, there should be a proper display of relevant information and disclaimers. And additionally, the claim made in the advertisement and other important information must be in the same font. So you cannot put the disclaimer in a tiny box much below where, most of the times you can't even listen to you can't even read the disclaimer. And then also you have to accurately represent the services or the facilities or the resources, the infrastructure that you are providing in the service center. And also, truthful representation should be done at the courses offered by the coaching center, and obviously, transparency needs to be maintained. Now, apart from these, the guidelines also cast an obligation upon a person engaged in coaching, very specifically when they use candidate's name, photograph, and all of that. They have to make sure that it is done with their consent. The consent must be taken before they start advertising these things. So these guidelines specifically deal with a very niche part of the practices that are being taken up by the coaching centers. Now, why does this become important in today's day? Like I said, when there needs to be a reach for these coaching centers, unlike, let us say, for a school, for example, let us say somebody has scored whatever rank or state first or whatever, it's very easy to, vet this information, right? It's very easy to figure out if this information is correct or not. But whereas when it comes to coaching centers, you don't know who is enrolled where, you don't know what is happening. The ability of a common person to take these things up and verify this becomes very, very less. So I feel like these guidelines are very, very essential, especially when these coaching institutes, I do not want to take names, but there have been multiple instances of these coaching institutes, faking certain positions or faking certain ranks or positions that they were able to produce. So I think these guidelines are very, very important and deal with these are not guidelines. These are not specific to this particular industry in the sense that these guidelines already exist. When you look at the even from a competitive perspective, right? That you do not engage in detrimental competitive practices amongst the coaching centers itself. I feel like these guidelines actually, show a lot of these coaching centers the way forward. Sir, I believe you have a question. Sorry.
Yeah,
Correct.
this particular thing is very correct. That advertisement, this condition they should have imposed long back.
Right.
There is nothing to do with coaching guidelines. Any claims or this thing, if you are putting it in a very small print.
But unfortunately, they had to say it very specifically.
No, same result. 10 different institutes are claiming because their fellow gets funded.
Right.
He takes the money and gives the name. Like any other film actor, Shah Rukh Khan also will endorse some products. Then Akshay Kumar will also endorse some products.
Right.
That's happening. Let people at least know.
Right.
All these fellows are paid the money.
Right. So
see, I agree with you on this because the advertisement stringency should have been, though individually publishers, I remember when I launched a program way back in 1982, Hindustan Times said, you give me in writing, this, what you are claiming is what will happen. I said, yes, no problem. I gave it in writing. So it's not that that practice had not been there, but at a media level, yes, they have been doing that.
Right. And some of them are like really tall claims. And, with such tall claims, there is this feeling of competition, right? When so many people clear out of a particular institution and all of that, again, we have to go back to the major issues that come into play, right? And these advertisements serve no purpose. They also, again, bring about the pressure, and they also start putting pressure on these students enrolling in these institutions. It goes like that. They're all interconnected. These specific guidelines, unfortunately, had to be issued because
no competitive part, this part I
stakeholders
agree with you. Otherwise,
rampant.
but as far as qualification is concerned, no, India, everybody is qualified. Degree is not a problem. What do they know how to teach? That's what is important. Getting a degree today is a number of private universities. So degree is not a problem today.
Right.
They know how to coach. That's what is important. So
Right.
the students take a decision, no, based on if this guy's class is not good, he'll walk away. So today, that problem is not the serious thing. So my only concern was, if education department is coming out with this thing, if a ministry is going to come, have they invited all the stakeholders? What LG did recently, they should have done a year before, when they were coming out with the guidelines. Had they come out with the guidelines, where is the problem? Why we need to go to the challenge the court and hire Mukul Rohtgi and pay him such heavy fees? I wouldn't have done that, no?
I would like to disagree with you, because why would people challenge? There are always people challenging everything. I would like to still disagree with you there.
And I agree
Because,
with you.
see, I'm a lawyer, right? We disagree on everything. Tomorrow you tell me to disagree with something, I will disagree with something. But that doesn't go to say. So that's what I was trying to say. Guidelines, again, at the end of the day, are only intended to guide things. I'm glad that you agree with me on the misrepresentation and
Yes,
advertising.
that should be done. No, otherwise also we were anyway going to make it tougher for these fellows.
Right.
This thing we'll say this institute had published their first result, all India rank, this is the institute. If others are claiming, yes, fine, that's the student's problem.
Right.
Student needs to be held up for that. If they're going to give this thing, I qualified from this institute, I took the ABC course from this institute, DEF course from this institute, GHK from this institute, let him claim. No. So at least parents know. See, I think today there's not anything which is hidden. Social media, everything is known. The student has passed from which institute, we would have known much before. We also can predict which student is going to top in the IIT exam, based on how much he is performing in the courses. So anyway, this was this thing. I just wanted to say that I favor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
Okay.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you.
I think I had taken too much time of everybody.
Thank you, Chandana. Thank you for your
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
For your insights on this new law. And ladies and gentlemen, it is my duty to thank each and every one of you who made this entire session as a live one. And first of all, I thank Mr. Jaybal sir for coming up and sharing his almost 40 plus years of experience related to the coaching industry. And very well, a very smart lawyer came up and highlighted what are the new requirements of this law and all the things. And the hero of the session, Mr. Narayan sir, taking up the entire session. What about the other side of the coin? So how these industry is going to take it across? What is the problem they are facing? What should have been done, and what could be the in future activity? Wonderful insights, sir. Thank you for your wonderful contribution for this session. And finally, Chandana, again, very fast and furious and more informative related to this small law, no? But still it is worth one for your contribution and for the various interaction you have made.
Thank you.
And thank you all, everyone.
Thank you.
Giridharan sir. Giridharan
Yeah.
sir. Veda? Did we cover Veda?
Yeah, where I told
Sorry,
you.
No, I just only wanted to ask only one question, Giridharan
Yeah,
sir.
please. Yeah.
One thing to Narayanan sir, the Sati platform, which is launched by the Ministry of Education. They have launched this Sati platform, which is an online coaching center from IIT Kanpur, I think, is the nodal body for engineering education. Again, from looking at a multi-stakeholders perspective, we really felt that, it is also a good initiative. Maybe some government also has to contribute towards all these programs, which will actually help.
Yeah, I'll tell you, government has every state government, every central policies are there. They have a fund for coaching also. It's not that they have but that is only for minority or OBCs or SC/ST students who are preparing for some examination. So even they hire coaching institutes for delivering their courses. So it's not.
Sati is open for all, I guess, not for any specific economic background, socio-economic backgrounds.
No, Sati is a new thing.
It's a
I'm
new
just
thing.
telling
This
you,
is-
government has been there. There is a coaching fund for the.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
So many tenders are floated, and almost all coaching institutes, big coaching institutes, have some contribution in that government's role also.
Sati appears to be a good program. At least they started for this. Maybe they are going to extend it to all others.
In
And,
IIT Madras, there had been going
Yeah.
on. IIT Delhi, there had been going on for
Yes,
training students.
They started actually this through Sati they started now. One more thing, there is see, these are all the conversations. Whatever I'm sharing, I'm just picking up from the conversations. There is a demand to introduce MRP for coaching center courses, prices also. That's a demand. Can we have an MRP at least for this? Like any others. See, education and healthcare are two things which will hurt people very badly.
I'll tell you, actually speaking, the kind of fees they are charging is too much. But then what they are giving in return in terms of infrastructure, that also we have to see. Affordable coaching, obviously, I can still give a child for just 2,000 rupees a month coaching for IIT or medical. It's possible. 12 months, 24,000 rupees. 2 years, 48,000 rupees. Even that's possible. But then as soon as the infrastructure comes, the costs go up.
When they offer it, even if it's online or offline, when coming from an academic institutions, as I said, that competency of the people who are teaching today, you
And-
said it because I'm seeing increasingly many youth getting into this, setting up the coaching centers, markets. It's happening everywhere. Uneducated youth, I'm sorry,
So,
unemployed
they are
youth,
very less.
not
I'll tell you.
unemployed youth. They're also, see,
Unemployed youth, not
unemployed youth,
uneducated.
so not uneducated, I'm sorry, unemployed youth are getting into this because there's an opportunity for everybody. See, some sanitization, standardization is needed. The heat on coaching centers has become so intense only after COVID. Not that it was not there earlier. It was not that much after COVID, because
Yes.
marketplace derailment is very high. I said, see, whether it is domestic or international, I was asking when I saw this, who's going to build the cat of the international counseling centers who are taking students to global markets for education. So there's a lot of scamming the students has become a norm, unfortunately. Parents don't know much, students don't know much. It's purely based on the blind trust and faith. We get into all this. So there's a lot of derailment. And
That's true.
I also wanted to know your
Criminals are there everywhere. That's what
yes, I fully agree. So your views between an offline and an online coaching centers now marketplace has both. So see, because offline has been there for donkey's years and online is just slowly getting into it. Which segment is actually getting into more derailment? As an association head, I just would like to have your views. Where the derailment is more.
See, I'll tell you, places like India, both will coexist. Because there's an urban class which can rely on online coaching. If they choose a particular teacher, I want to read from him, not a problem. But the majority rural folks or small towns, they send their children still to the, even if you look at the entire Andhra Pradesh, they send them to Vijayawada or Hyderabad. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, they are sending that has become a hub. Similarly, the entire Rajasthan, MP, some parts of UP and Haryana, they send their child to Kota. It has become this thing. Similarly, you will find in Aurangabad, the entire this part of Maharashtra, they send their child to Aurangabad, then Nanded, and Latur. These are the three places. Again, hubs. Similarly, you are now coaching hubs are coming up in Kolhapur also.
It's there everywhere. Only thing is, I just
Nagpur has become a big hub now. Amaravati, I've been there in the whole industry, so I understand what is happening everywhere.
hybrid is going to be there.
Ultimately, quality is key and responsibility.
Yes. Responsibility is what? Social responsibility.
Social
Yes.
responsibility, we have to, because as a federation, it has become all the more serious role for us to play. But unfortunately, coaching centers They don't get together. Everybody thinks he is a competitor.
Every
know,
sector, every
uh,
sector for that matter.
Competitor, I tell them very clearly, no problems. Now, what if such law act? So ultimately, everybody. Now, all the IAS fellows are after me. He said, after that episode of that 3 children, there.
Yep,
So
yes.
we stood by them, and almost all the TV channels, they keep calling me for my thoughts on that. So I tell them the same thing. So I have nothing to hide. There is fine. There is action to be taken up against all the fellows who are violating the laws. That is true for all of us, no? Any civil law, any criminal law, if I violate, I am taken to task. Why a coaching why it is as a coaching industry? That fellow is a coach, fine. If he's a criminal, he's a criminal. If he's a minister, he's fine. If he's a criminal, he's a criminal. No. So it is true for all of us. Under the constitution, everybody comes under this thing. So don't have to separate coaching is the thing. Schools, unfortunately, they are under tremendous pressure.
Aware, sir.
And I tell them, I mean, many of the school managements are almost 30 such institutions are connected with me, those who run chains of schools. I tell them one thing. I had been a CEO of a school before myself. I know how to help them out. I tell them very clearly, you just think about the student. That's the end.
Only thing I just wanted to say, you were unhappy because the guidelines were drafted by Ministry of Education without consulting the coaching centers.
Obviously,
But coaching center, we all consider it as an extension of the education. Generally, I'm just saying as a representative body. So when coaching is teaching, teaching is education. So coaching is also considered as education.
No,
We
that's
consider
okay.
it as an
I have no issues on that.
Right,
So we are
right.
educating, and you cannot have the same laws for a local
I agree.
provision
I
store
agree.
and a mall.
No, I
Fine.
do. Yeah, I
Because
agree.
the same thing is
I'm
true
agree,
here
sir.
also.
Explain
You
my
cannot
difficulty in getting speakers for this session, and education sector could not connect with this topic at all. We couldn't get
Yeah.
speakers.
Unfortunately, not. My wife retired as director of Ministry of Education, higher education. That too. Okay, I know what's happening in various departments, but then they're generally against coaching. No.
Anyhow, that's all it is from
Okay,
my
sir.
side.
Okay.
Giridharan sir, please
Thanks a
continue.
lot.
I'm sorry.
Thanks
Yeah.
a lot.
I
Namaste.
wanted to continue, Giridharan sir. I'm sorry I interrupted
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Not a problem. Again, it's a valid discussion that we had.
I must thank
So,
Narayanan sir actually
yeah,
for reaching
definitely.
out. He was.
I
We are
always-
very much humbled, sir. We are very much humbled. You responded so positively, and there was a time was actually I thought, let me give up this conversation for the simple reason, as I said, I was
Okay.
struggling to get speakers, but then I was able to convince
No. See, I'll tell you,
lawyers.
it requires a voice, very important. because
Absolutely.
I'm very, very concerned about these small players with so much of unemployment, and we cannot help them out. And poor
Regulations
children
choke.
in
Okay.
coaching, they need
Micro, small. Regulations choke. Micro, small. Always. Only medium and large will survive. That's all it
Alright.
is. Over
That's-
to you, Giridharan
Okay.
sir. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, as a concluding remark, okay, fine. And once again, thank you all. And I take the words of Mr. Narayanan,
lot.
sir. Yeah,
Thank you.
quality and responsibility. The two words that you have tell. That's going to be the guiding torch for the entire industry.
Very true. Very true.
And we hope we will take care of the future generation through the effective coaching centers. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all for everyone's participation
Thank
and
you.
excellent
Thank you.
contributions.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. How do I get?